Let me ask you something real quick. You worked hard on that yard. You pruned, you watered, you planted, you prayed over it, and now come summer, you can't even sit outside for 5 minutes without getting eaten alive by mosquitoes. My name is David. Welcome back to Garden Roots. Now let's get into it. Plant number 1, lavender. Lavender is one of those plants you can't miss. It has long, slender gray-green leaves and tall spikes of purple-blue flowers that smell like a grandmother's linen drawer, in the best way. It grows in rounded, bushy clumps and it blooms beautifully from late spring through summer, right when mosquitoes are at their worst. Lavender contains linalool and linalool acetate, 2 compounds that mosquitoes find deeply repellent. A 2002 study published in Phytotherapy Research showed that lavender oil repelled mosquitoes for up to 8 hours at 80% efficacy when properly applied. That's not a folk tale, that's data. Here's the good news: lavender actually prefers well-drained, even poor soil. It hates being waterlogged. If your yard has compacted clay soil, mix in some coarse sand and a bit of perlite before planting. Lavender will thank you for it. Put it in a raised bed or even a large clay pot if the drainage is really bad. How to activate it? Don't just look at it. Before you sit outside, rub 4 or 5 leaves between your palms and then rub your hands on your arms and neck. You've just released the linalool. You've turned a pretty plant into a working barrier. Also, dry the flowers and place bundles near your porch door and window screens. Lavender is one of the plants mentioned in connection with aromatic offerings in Scripture. When we care for plants like this, we participate in something ancient and good. Plant number 2, lemon balm. Lemon balm looks a lot like mint, which makes sense because they're cousins. It has crinkled, bright green leaves with slightly jagged edges, and when you touch it, it smells like fresh lemon with a hint of sweetness. It grows in a full, bushy mound and can get about 2 feet tall. Lemon balm is rich in citronellal, yes, the same compound family in citronella candles, but in a living plant form. A study from the University of Guelph found that lemon balm extract repelled mosquitoes at levels comparable to low-concentration DEET applications. That's significant. Lemon balm is one of the most forgiving herbs alive. It grows in almost any soil condition, tolerates partial shade, and actually does well when other herbs struggle. The one thing to know: it spreads fast. Grow it in a container sunk into the ground or in a raised bed border to keep it from taking over your whole garden. For seniors who find bending difficult, a waist-high container is perfect. How to activate it: every evening before you go outside, crush about 10 fresh leaves and rub the juice onto exposed skin. Alternatively, make a simple lemon balm spray. Steep a large handful of crushed leaves in 2 cups of hot water for 20 minutes, let it cool, strain it into a spray bottle. Spray on clothing and skin. This is your homemade, zero-chemical, all-natural mosquito guard. Pet safety warning: lemon balm is generally considered safe for cats and dogs, but always monitor pets around any herb and consult your vet if you're unsure. Plant number 3, marigolds. Marigolds are those cheerful orange and yellow flowers that look like little suns planted in the ground. They come in sizes from ankle height to knee height, with feathery dark green leaves and full, ruffled flower heads. They're one of the most recognizable flowers in any garden. Marigolds produce pyrethrum, a compound so effective against insects that it became the basis for many commercial insecticides. They also emit a sulfur compound from their roots that deters whiteflies, aphids, and yes, mosquitoes. Planting marigolds as a border around your sitting areas creates a natural perimeter defense. Marigolds are incredibly tough. They're drought tolerant, they grow in poor soil, and they actually thrive with a little neglect. Plant them in full sun. If your soil is badly compacted, simply loosen the top 6 inches with a hand fork and mix in 1 handful of compost per plant hole. That's all they need. How to activate it: strategic placement is the activation method here. Line them along the edges of your patio, along walkways, and around outdoor seating areas. The denser the planting, the stronger the barrier. Also, crush a spent bloom and wipe the paste along the rim of any outdoor furniture. It works as a contact deterrent. Pet safety warning: marigolds can be toxic to dogs and cats if ingested. If you have pets that roam your garden, plant marigolds in elevated planters or in areas your pets cannot access. This matters. Plant number 4, rosemary. This is the one I told you about at the beginning, the one you might already have on your porch. Rosemary looks like a small woody shrub with stiff, needle-like leaves, dark green on top, silver-white underneath, and tiny blue or purple flowers in spring. It smells piney, resinous, and strong. You probably recognize it from your kitchen. A study published in Malaria Journal in 2011 found that rosemary oil provided up to 100% repellency against specific mosquito species for the first 30-60 minutes of direct application. A separate study in Parasitology Research confirmed that burning dried rosemary sprigs produced a smoke with measurable repellent properties comparable to commercial mosquito coils, without the toxic chemical load. Rosemary loves rocky, sandy, well-drained soil. The poorer, the better. In compacted yards, grow it in a large terracotta pot, at least 12 inches wide. It needs full sun and very little water once established. For seniors in hot climates, rosemary is almost unkillable. It's your plant. How to activate it the right way. Method 1. Rub fresh sprigs between your palms and apply to skin. Method 2. Place a few fresh sprigs on hot charcoal or a fire-safe burning plate outdoors. The aromatic smoke covers a 10-foot radius. Method 3. Boil rosemary in water, let cool, strain, pour into a spray bottle. Use it like a room spray for your patio. This is the plant doing work, not decoration. Treat it like the tool it is. Plant number 5, basil. Basil has wide, smooth, shiny leaves that are deep green, sometimes with a purple tint depending on the variety. The leaves are soft and fragrant, and the plant can grow anywhere from 12 to 24 inches tall. Thai basil and African blue basil tend to have stronger mosquito-fighting compounds than sweet Italian basil, though all varieties work. A landmark 2009 study published in Bioresource Technology tested basil essential oil against Aedes aegypti, the mosquito responsible for dengue and Zika. The results showed over 73% repellency in topical application tests. Basil contains estragol and linalool, both proven insect deterrents. The fact that it also goes great in your tomatoes is just a bonus. Basil is a soft, warm-season herb that prefers rich, moist, well-drained soil. If your soil is compacted, grow it in containers or raised beds with a basic potting mix. It needs at least 6 hours of direct sun. Water consistently, don't let it dry out completely, but don't drown it either. How to activate it. Plant basil near your doors and windows. Simply brushing past the plant as you walk releases the oils. Keep a small pot on your outdoor table and pinch leaves regularly to encourage growth and to release the compounds. For maximum effect, blend fresh basil leaves with a carrier oil like coconut oil, 10 leaves per 2 tablespoons of oil, and apply to skin. Plant number 6, lemongrass. Lemongrass is a tall, dramatic, grass-like plant with long, arching blue-green blades that can reach 3 to 5 feet tall. It forms dense clumps and has a strong, bright citrus scent. It's tropical in feel but surprisingly tough. Lemongrass contains citronellal, geraniol, and citrol, a trio of compounds that are the backbone of virtually every commercial mosquito repellent. It is the citronella plant. EPA fact sheet data and research from the Journal of the American Mosquito Control Association confirm that properly prepared citronella-based products reduce mosquito landings by 40–60% in treated areas. Lemongrass is actually very forgiving. It grows in ordinary garden soil if you add a bit of organic matter. In zones 8–11, it's perennial. In colder zones, grow it in large pots and bring it indoors in winter. It loves sun and consistent moisture. How to activate it. Cut a fresh stalk and crush the lower portion. The white, bulb-like base is where the oil concentration is highest. Rub directly on skin or place crushed stalks around outdoor seating. You can also make a strong tea from lemongrass leaves and use it as a body rinse before going outside. Important pet safety warning. Please read this carefully. According to the ASPCA Animal Poison Control database, lemongrass is toxic to both cats and dogs. If ingested in any meaningful quantity, it can cause gastrointestinal distress and liver damage. If you have pets that roam your garden, grow lemongrass in elevated planters or behind fencing your animals cannot access, do not apply lemongrass oil directly to your pets. This plant is powerful. Use it wisely. Plant number 7, catnip. Alright, here's the one you haven't heard about, the one buried in the science that nobody talks about on YouTube. Catnip looks like a soft, slightly fuzzy version of mint. It has heart-shaped, toothed leaves that are a gray-green color with tiny white or pale lavender flowers that bloom in summer. It grows in a bushy mound, usually 2 to 3 feet tall, and it spreads easily, which we're going to use to our advantage. In 2001, a study from Iowa State University presented at the American Chemical Society found that nepetalactone, the active compound in catnip, repelled mosquitoes at a rate 10 times more effective than DEET. In laboratory conditions, 10 times. That study caused a small stir in the research community but never made it to mainstream gardening culture. A follow-up study published in Phytochemistry in 2010 confirmed that nepetalactone disrupts the olfactory receptors of mosquitoes, essentially confusing their ability to detect human skin. They literally cannot find you through the chemical noise it creates. Catnip is one of the most resilient plants you can grow. It tolerates poor soil, partial shade, drought, and neglect. It's nearly impossible to kill. For seniors with limited mobility, grow it in large ground-level containers or along a border where it can sprawl. It will come back year after year. How to activate it the right way. Rubbing fresh catnip leaves on your skin and clothing is method 1. But the activation strategy most people miss is this. Plant catnip as a ground cover border around your seating area in a deliberate ring. When people walk through it, the light crushing releases the nepetalactone continuously, creating a passive, ongoing repellent barrier that requires zero effort once planted. This is what I call the living moat strategy. You plant it once and it guards you every summer after. Pet note: yes, your cat will be interested in this plant. Keep that in mind for placement. Now I'm going to tell you something that might feel like it contradicts everything I just said, but it doesn't. It completes it. Living plants alone are not enough. Science is clear. The essential oils that repel mosquitoes are locked inside the plant tissues. A plant just sitting there releases maybe 5–10% of its active compounds passively into the air. That's why we talked about activating each plant, crushing, rubbing, burning, spraying. That changes everything. But here's the other half of the truth. Mosquitoes breed in standing water. Even a bottle cap of still water can host 300 mosquito larvae. If you have water sitting in flower pot saucers, old tires, clogged gutters, bird baths that aren't changed weekly, no plant in the world will fully protect you. The most effective approach, backed by integrated pest management research from the University of Florida and EPA guidelines, is a 3-layer system. Layer 1: right arrow, eliminate breeding sites. Walk your yard once a week, dump standing water, clean gutters, refresh bird baths every 3–4 days. Layer 2: right arrow, plant your repellent garden using the 7 plants we covered today, activated properly. Layer 3: right arrow, support natural predators. Plant near water features to attract dragonflies, nature's elite mosquito hunters. A single dragonfly eats up to 100 mosquitoes per day. They are a gift. If you're a believer, think about that design for a moment. These 3 layers working together, that's how you get a genuinely bug-free yard. This is the bonus I promised you. I've never seen this written up in any popular gardening guide. It's called the fragrant trench method, and it combines the oldest agricultural wisdom with modern plant science. Here's what you do. Dig a shallow trench just 6 inches deep around the perimeter of your outdoor seating area, roughly 3 to 4 feet out from where you sit. Fill that trench with a mixture of coarse wood chip mulch and dried lavender stems, dried rosemary, and dried catnip, roughly equal parts. Then plant catnip or lemon balm directly into that trench line, every 12 inches. What happens? The wood chip mulch holds moisture and slowly releases the dried herb oils at ground level, right where mosquitoes fly in their approach path. They fly low, at ankle and knee height, before rising to bite. The living plants establish a root network that competes with any stagnant water-loving weed growth. And when rain hits the trench, it releases a burst of repellent scent that acts like a natural alarm barrier. This is multisensory defense, visual, olfactory, and biological, all in one 6-inch trench around your sitting area. I developed this approach by studying traditional West African herb barrier gardening practices combined with USDA companion planting research. It costs almost nothing if you grow your own plants and save the trimmings. It gets stronger every year as the plants fill in. That trench is your moat, your yard is your castle. And you just learned how to defend it without spending $1 on chemicals. If you've made it this far, I want to say something directly to you. You are not just a gardener, you are a steward. You are someone who looks at a patch of ground and sees life and food and beauty and, yes, protection for your family. That matters. Here's what I want you to do right now. Don't just watch this and move on. Pick one plant from today's list, just one that you can either plant this week or that you already have and haven't been using the right way. Commit to activating it this weekend, then come back and tell us how it went. We have a community of gardeners right here in the comments, seniors, believers, folks who have been working soil for 30, 40, 50 years, and every one of them started with one plant at a time. Drop in the comments below, which plant are you starting with, and do you already have any of these 7 growing right now? If this video helped you, share it with one friend or family member who's fighting the same mosquito battle this summer. That's how this community grows, not from algorithms, but from people who actually care about each other. New videos every week right here on Garden Roots. I'll see you in the garden. And until next time, keep your soil alive, your roots deep, and your yard full of purpose. God bless, herb.